People are pissed. People are pissed at our friend Danny Z, and I got to tell you, there's no reason to be. Danny Z asked a question of Dawn Staley that is still resonating. It is still catching the world's attention, and it was a legit question. Danny Z asked a question very simply. Should biological males play in women's sports? Dawn Staley hemmed and hawed. Didn't really give a great answer. Gave a terrible answer, matter of fact. Basically said, yeah, if they feel like a woman, go play. Well, the NCAA got all the tither. They deleted part of Danny Z's question from the transcript. And, of course, the world, including us, chimed in. Well, you know, woke all-star Jemele Hill is going to chime in. The Jemele Hill, failing at everything she does, including an autobiography, she's pissed. She's pissed at Danny Z. She's pissed at OutKick. Oh, my God, she's pissed. It's like I used to tell my ex-wife, you're pissed? I'll go over there or you go over there, and when we're done being pissed, let's talk. But if not, I don't want to hear it. It's not the best way to have a marriage. I'm divorced, but that's the way I handled it, and that's the way I handle most things. You're pissed. Hey, I see you're pissed. Go over there. Be pissed. Well, the press conference question heard round the world to Dawn Staley continues to cause the woke lefties a problem. It's very simple. You don't address a problem after it becomes a major problem. There's something called proactive. You know, like right now, let me give you an example. Right now, there are 0 transgender men playing in women's basketball. You think that's going to stay that way? Of course it's not going to stay that way. No. So what do? You address it. You get out in front of it. It's like young adult males that I actually spent the weekend with in a big old Airbnb. We had 12 of us in an Airbnb, massive house. All right, here's the deal. They're already taking pills for what? Baldness. They don't want to look like this. They're not bald. They're not even receding. But they were talking about it. They're taking pills. Why? To be proactive. Look, if I all of a sudden started taking pills for this, I might get a little baby hair up there, but nothing worthwhile. These guys are in their 20s. They're being proactive. It's what you do. It's what you do. You don't wait till there's a million dandelions in your yard before you fertilize. You fertilize and you don't get the damn dandelions. It's that simple. Do I need to give you another analogy, or is that enough? Explain it to me, right? I think that's plenty. I think you get the point. Well, everybody's mad, including Jemele Hill, about Danny Z asking a simple question. Should biological men play against women? Jemele Hill, of course, chimes in. The truth is there isn't a single transgender woman competing in Division I women's basketball. All right? Meaning none are competing at the Final Four on Dawn Staley's team. So there was 0 relevancy to your question. Are you out of your mind? Look, I get it. Like, this is woke lefties. Woke lefties have to complain about this. They take the side of inclusion. Well, here's the deal. It's not inclusive. It's not exclusive. If you want to play in the Danny D, not Danny Z, but Danny D model, all men transitioning to women play with the men. All women transitioning to men play with the men. That's inclusive. Everybody gets to play. There you go. Because right now they all play against the women. You've heard me say this a bazillion times. And you know what? You wanted to troll. You wanted the clicks. And you were looking for a reason to put a target on someone's back. No. Now, this is where you're just stupid. And Jemele Hill's not stupid. She's calculating. Jemele Hill is trying to get that cat money, yo. That's what she's trying to get. Good for her. She actually has relevancy when, in fact, if somebody said, what does Jemele Hill do? Nobody would have an answer. She doesn't, not on SportsCenter anymore, not at ESPN anymore, wrote a book that didn't sell. She's not on any network, shows up time to time. So how does she show up time to time? She's become an activist. She's become, I don't know, Reverend Al, Jesse Jackson. When you need someone, call on Jemele Hill. Although Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al charge you an arm and a leg. And apparently, in Reverend Al's case, he don't pay no tax on it. But hey, I wish I was like that. I would love not to pay tax because I don't want to pay tax this year. You wanted to troll. No, he didn't. He wanted to ask a serious question. That is the number one question as that train is coming down the tracks. That light is going to get bigger. Whatever analogy I could use in women's sports. You wanted the clicks. You're looking for a reason to put a target on someone's back. Look, Dawn Staley could have said, hey, look, I don't think men should play against women, period. Next question. There you go. That's not journalism, really. What's journalism? Really? Trying to turn something into something. What's journalism? I mean, let's be honest. My guy Greg Doyle yesterday, in a column that's being ridiculed everywhere, was a basketball writer for CBS. He comes to Indianapolis where basketball is king, and he acted like he had never seen Danny Hurley's antics before in an article yesterday. I mean, what's journalism? But then again, given who you work for, none of this is surprising. Well, given who you work for, let's discuss that. Clay Travis, I get it. People don't like Clay Travis. I also get it that people really, really do. Like, OutKick is exploding. Why? Well, 90% of people don't want men playing against women in women's sports. Now, those 90%, like Dawn Staley, have to be silent. Why? They'll get crushed. They'll get absolutely crushed by their community. Look, if you're going to deal in college women's basketball or softball, you're going to have to deal with the LGBTQ community. The lesbian community dominates. It's a nasty community. It's an awful recruiting community. It has not served the sport well at all. And I've said this before, my beautiful wife got the Syracuse job after the Syracuse coach was fired for an affair with the shortstop. Now think about that. Think about old Bobby Knight coming up and trying to make out with me. Hey, Dan, I like you in those shorts, big boy. Let's have a throwdown. What? No. I'll play you more. Well, maybe. Hang on. Hold on. Let me give some thought to it. No. So now you've got to deal with the LGBTQB, whatever the hell it is, community. And if you're Dawn Staley, that's an important community. A friend of mine is named Kurt Miller. Kurt's a great women's basketball coach. Great. Not good, great. Took Bowling Green to the Sweet 16. He's now the head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. And he told me one time, he goes, look, I'm unbelievable with lesbian women. Lesbian women love me. Kurt is gay. Who cares? A lot of gay guys don't get along with the lesbian community. He did. He does. It's helped him. And he knows it. It's a very important community if you're going to survive in the world of women's basketball. And part of the what's the T stand for? Trans, I think. You can't upset them. Dawn Staley knows that mafia will come at you, and they'll come at you strong no matter who you are. So she hemmed and hawed and gave an idiotic answer. I don't blame her. Who could blame her? It's vicious out there. But the fact of the matter is, going back to Danny Z's question, there was nothing wrong with his question. In fact, it was a necessary question. You don't wait. You don't wait. Now, I would guess that, let's just say for the sake of argument, some really good high school player. Now remember, women's basketball teams like South Carolina play against men, boys, college students every day in practice. Every day. That's who they play against. Why? Because they're better. These are guys that probably could play Division III, maybe. Certainly played in high school. They're the practice squad. And Dawn Staley actually said after the game that she's giving those boys national championship rings, which is very cool, very nice. But the fact of the matter is, if all of a sudden a couple of them boys decided they want to play and they sue to get the right to play, because, well, as Dawn Staley said, they feel like women, but they went to go play at Iowa, and Dawn Staley's got to deal with some of these dudes, she ain't going to like it. And she's all of a sudden going to be a mouth. Danny Z gave Dawn Staley a great opportunity. He gave one of the pioneers, she's not a pioneer, but she's standing on the backs of pioneers. She is the most vocal person. She is the most heard person in the sport and didn't have the guts to stand up for the sport. In my world, that's very, very sad. I get the personal attacks that are coming. But you know what? Personal attacks last a little bit, and then they go away. Dawn has had personal attacks after her for the last few days. They're going to go away, except for people like Jemele Hill need to keep them going. Because if you don't keep them going, as I said, where's Jemele Hill work? What's she do? She wants to become one of those paid protesters. You know, it cost you, back in the day, I don't know what it does now, it used to cost you about $35,000 to get Jesse Jackson to show up with his Rainbow Coalition at a protest. There's money to be made. And Jemele Hill knows this. Of course she knows this. There you go. File this under, how dumb can you be? Let's listen to The Rock. The Rock. I think The Rock is the worst actor in the world. Like, I watched this show he had called Ballers because I'm like, this is the worst acting ever. This guy is horrific. But he's a good-looking, big, strong dude, so everybody's like, he's great, he's The Rock. And he apparently is pretty smart and all that stuff. But The Rock says that, Jemele Hill says The Rock is a political coward after he walks back his 2020 endorsement of Joe Biden. Well, everybody should walk back their 2020 endorsement of Joe Biden. Everybody should. Let's hear The Rock talking to our friend Will Kane, who needs to come on the show, by the way, fairly soon. Let's hear The Rock.
Are you happy that you made that endorsement in 2020? Are you happy with the state of America?
Am I happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better. The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. And I thought back then, when we talk about, hey, I'm in this position where I have some influence, and it's my job then. I felt like that then. It's my job now to exercise my influence and share with this is who I'm going to endorse. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no.
Of course not. I mean, no reasonable person that doesn't have a woke agenda, of course not. Well, here is Jemele Hill. Let's hear from Jemele Hill.
That's the kind of, frankly, political cowardice that's hard to respect. I don't understand how Joe Biden is the divisive one when what he's running against is pushing bigotry, xenophobia, every other phobia and ism you could possibly name. That is what they're literally campaigning on. Joe Biden is not campaigning on those same things. And so I don't even understand how Joe Biden got attacked for being the one who's dividing people. If he wants to stop the division, then he shouldn't at all make it seem like he is aligned with the side that is pushing only division. That's their entire agenda. They have no policy. All the entire thing that they have is to get you to hate somebody else that you perceive is lower on the totem pole than you. And so even though he said he was going to keep his ballot to himself, he actually didn't, because there's only one other person who will be the presidential nominee. So unless you plan to write in yourself or plan to vote for Donald Trump, you've made your decision that you are voting for xenophobia and bigotry and all these other things that you claim to stand against. So,
yeah, she's not going to scare me. She may scare you with that stupidity. But, it was amazing when you go back over Donald Trump's career. Man, the African-American community, the one he's supposedly bigoted against, boy, did they come around him. Boy, they couldn't wait to take his money. Only when he became president. Let me give you some policies. One, he's going to shut down the border, Jemele. Now, I don't know about you, but I know this, and this isn't xenophobia or anything else. When you let over 7 million people across the border, guess what? With nowhere to go, they're going to come into your community. And we've already seen it. And it's not like they're all of a sudden going to become senators. It's not like all of a sudden they got to figure out how to work. And a lot of these folks are criminals. And if you don't like that, if you think that's xenophobia, then you just haven't studied. You just haven't paid attention. And if you don't know what's going on in terms of crime rates in major cities where these folks are, you just haven't paid attention. You could use words like that to try to scare people, but you really sound dumb. And I understand we're not supposed to call people dumb, particularly people of color, but that's just dumb. All right, closed borders, that's one. All you got to do is go to grocery store. Maybe Jemele Hill orders groceries. I don't know. You can do that now. But I go to the grocery store, and I buy basically the same stuff every day. And the price is not doubled, but the price is maybe 1/3 higher. I literally walk in. I think I talked about this either on this show or the other show yesterday. I walk in. I know exactly where I'm going. The lunch meat's right there on the right. There's a rotisserie chicken right here. I go back to the fruits, get some tomatoes, get some vegetables. I said get some fruits. And then I go around the corner, and there's my Diet A&W, and there's Diet Sprite, and there's all the stuff that I liked. And I go down, and I come back up this way. There's some pickles. I mean, I got it figured out. I come out this way. There's the meats. So I stop, usually get me some chickens. I like chicken thighs. I don't like drumsticks. I get some chicken breasts, maybe a couple of pork chops, that kind of stuff. And then I move it along. I get some coffee. I mean, I can go through the whole thing with you. And I've been doing this since I got divorced about 10, 12 years ago when I started having to do that as my kids lived with me. And the prices are not the same. They're not even close. Not even close. I'll give you another policy that he is on. The military. Military inclusion is up, meaning we got to include everybody, blah, 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 blah. But military enrollment is down. He's going to strengthen our military. 401k, the economy was never better. Interest rates were down under Donald Trump. I was told yesterday that interest rates on a house may go up as high as 8 to 9%. Maybe that's what you already have. I got 2.7% because I'm freaking smart. I pay attention. I don't know what Jemele Hill is looking at. This is all they have. They try to scare you. What are you being scared about from Jemele Hill? Xenophobia. She don't even know all the is. This. Blah, blah, blah. I don't get my morality. Maybe you do. I don't. I don't get my morality from politicians. You know why Ronald Reagan married Nancy Reagan. Read about it. Hey, how many different people was JFK stupid? How many abortions or how many BJs underneath the table did Bill Clinton get? We knew about one. How many women have come out against Bill Clinton? Don't even get me started on what young Bush was doing in his previous life, or Bush Sr., and allegedly the 33-year affair he had. I mean, just stop with it. Dumbass men in power are going to do dumbass things, and these guys are no different. You know what? So I don't want to hear about the morality of a political candidate. And you're not scaring me. That's all this is. Tell me one thing Joe Biden's done. Well, he's brought back jobs. He made a big deal about bringing back 300,000 jobs. About 90,000 of those were government jobs. I mean, stop. Just stop with the stupid. Hopefully American people, well, you know, he's xenophobic. No, he's not. And if he is, I don't care. I want the border secure. I want my 401k growing. I want gas prices down. That's it. I mean, I don't want much. I don't want to hear the word inflation. And I've said this my entire life. You got other things. Well, what about this? What about trans rights? I don't care. I do not care. Because I know it's all crap. It's all political crap. I want what's real. And Donald Trump's going to give us what real. This guy has had 4 years. He don't even know where the hell he is. I don't care about divisive. Why doesn't she and others try to bring people together if she's so worried about division? I don't care about division. I don't. I wish I did. I don't. I mean, I would love to see people come together, but it ain't happening. Because then you would lose two things. That cap money that everybody's trying to get, that Reverend Al money that everyone's trying to get, and you would lose victim status. Victim status is big in this world, man. Make no mistake. Victim status is huge. If you can't get yourself a good old-fashioned victim status, woo, go on Twitter sometime, or I do this all the time just for the hell of it. Gary tells me not to punch down, and I don't anymore. But when people come at me, I would read their bios sometimes, not all the time, once in a while, particularly if it was a woman. If it was a woman, and then I would come back very lightly and then watch the victims. Oh, you're attacking me. Really? That's attacking? After you had just come at me. I don't even know who you are. But I love doing that. Victim status is big. And, hey, look, it's amazing to me. Look, I'm not saying Donald Trump's perfect, far from it. But I am saying Donald Trump wasn't considered a racist until he ran for president. And he ran for it on the Republican side. You think if Donald Trump was a Democrat, these clowns would be saying that he's a racist? Child, please. The Atlantic, whatever the hell it is, I got no respect for him, so I don't care. When I don't have any respect for him, I really don't say their name. Points out that Caitlin Clark scored more points during her final season of action than the Iowa football team did in 4 years she was in Iowa City. There it is right there. 1,234. 1,234 as opposed to 1,028. Now, come on. I mean, Caitlin Clark played a lot more games. I don't know how that isn't absolutely. I mean, what the hell? Caitlin Clark played like 30-some games. The Iowa football team played, 12? I'm surprised the Iowa football team scored 1,000 points in her four-year career. The Iowa football team, this is what you don't want to be. You don't want to be like Kleenex. Well, you do if you're a product. Like, nobody says, I'm going to get a tissue. They say, hey, you got a Kleenex? That's what you ask. Well, Iowa football has become, well, you're Iowa. It was like Clemson losing big games until now. If anybody can't score in football or any sport, or if they score more than, you go to Iowa. You're going to be Iowa. Brian Ferentz set a standard for Iowa football that is so low as the offensive coordinator that, you know what? It's become a real thing. It's become a definition, a verb, whatever the right word is. Hey, grab me a Kleenex, an adjective, an adverb. That's what it is. It takes me a minute. I really didn't pay attention in school. I don't know if you've noticed this, but in third grade, when Sister Geraldine kicked me out of third grade, it was because of a lack of attention. Andy Atar got kicked out because he was dancing on tables and throwing pens into the ceiling. I got kicked out because I flipped off the nun. I did. Freddie Viana will tell you it's the first time he's ever seen the middle finger was me flipping off Sister Geraldine. I'm going to have to answer for that. I am. I don't feel good about that. But anyway, I don't know how I got on that. But the fact of the matter is, Caitlin Clark scored more points in the year than what Brian Ferentz did in 4 years. I just think it's funny. She also played a massive role, Caitlin Clark did. Let's continue on the Caitlin Clark train. She played a massive role, and I'm going to talk about this a second. First ever women's championship game to average more viewers than their male counterparts. 18.9 million for the women, 14.8 million for the men. Well, that's awesome. Here's the deal. People are saying, including Clay and others on our network, that this was all due to Caitlin Clark, and I agree. I think Caitlin Clark, and I think this wording is perfect, a massive role in this. She did play a massive role. She did. But I got to tell you, women's basketball, women's volleyball has been on the rise for years. The attendance of women's basketball, the attendance of women's volleyball, the ratings of women's basketball, the ratings of women's volleyball, up, 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 up. Absolutely, Caitlin Clark enhanced it without question. I mean, honest to God, it's like I told Indiana fans when they were complaining that Caitlin Clark was all the rage when the IU women played against Iowa women on Big Fox. I said, why don't y'all just shut up and enjoy it? Because you'd never be on Big Fox as just the IU women or Iowa. Caitlin Clark, next thing you know, you're playing on the biggest network in the world on prime time or primetime Saturday. It's pretty good. But they were complaining, well, Caitlin Clark is all the ads. I don't care about Mackenzie Holm. Nice player, yay, rah, Indiana girl, yay. Don't care at all. Caitlin Clark, we care about. Good game, we care about. If they were a bad team, wouldn't care. So she played a massive role in this. Now, the interesting thing is going to be this. How does this translate to the WNBA? I had a chance, and I'm going to do this. She's already enhanced the Indiana Fever. I would have never done this before, but Lynn Dunn is the general manager of the Fever. She's a great coach at Purdue. Great coach. She won a WNBA title with the Fever. I love her. She's got an unbelievable voice. She's fun to talk to, opinionated, loud. I love her. We never would have had Lynn Dunn on my afternoon radio show here in Indianapolis, ever, weekly. Now we are. Why? Well, I think the Fever are going to explode some. I think people are going to want to hear about the Fever. Why is that? Caitlin Clark. I talked to Lynn Dunn about this. I asked her, you guys drafting Caitlin Clark? The rules say she can't talk about it. I understand that. But what she did say, and I'm basically quoting here, Danny, let me just say this. She got a Southern type. We got a lot of season ticket holders with Iowa area codes. That's right. They do. And I'm excited about it. How about this yesterday? Jim Boeheim on my local Indiana show said after taking his daughter to Albany to watch Caitlin Clark, he said, Dan, I'm just going to tell you, if I lived in Indy, I'd buy season tickets to the Fever game. And I would rather watch Caitlin Clark than UConn. Interesting. But here's the deal with that. We like gunners. Yeah, we do. We like team ball, pass it, and UConn's one of the best, if not the best, coach teams that I have seen. But we like ladies and gentlemen that are going to jack it up, as long as they make enough. Aim high and let it fly. Now, somebody hit me with this. They said, you don't like Dame Lillard. It's not that I don't like Dame Lillard. I just don't think he's interesting, and I don't know why. I love Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry's interesting. I think Klay Thompson's interesting. I think those two guys as deep shooters are interesting, but all deep shooters are not alike. And I got nothing for Dame Lillard. I don't know. Maybe I don't like his personality. I've actually not watched 1 second of Dame Lillard this year, and very rarely did I watch. I think he shoots from the half court just for effect, for brand. I think these others, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Caitlin Clark, they do it for wins. And I think there's a big difference. Hey, it's worked for everybody. It worked for Damian Lillard. But I don't know. Here's the deal with Caitlin Clark. Last thing, in the WNBA, I was asked this morning on Charlie's show. I'll give you the same answer. If she's great, if the Fever win, this phenomenon will continue. Here's the deal in Indianapolis. We say how much we love our basketball. Okay, fine. But we love Indiana basketball. We love Purdue basketball. Pacers got to win to get a crowd. Fever had a crowd when they won a championship years ago. In fact, I took my daughter. But the truth of the matter is this. If she wins, Indianapolis, Indiana will support her. Not just people coming over from Iowa or Illinois that are fans of hers. If they don't win, there'll be a substantial bump early. It'll flatten out, and away we go. It's just the way it is. If she's great, like if she drops 25 a night, shooting and playing the way she's shooting and playing, look, it'll be fantastic. Crowds will grow. They'll continue to grow. And that's what you got to watch. Are crowds maintaining or are they growing? Because opening night, chaos here in Indiana. It's just going to be crazy. So we'll see what happens. I'm rooting for her. I'm rooting big time for her. Because, look, my fat ass likes something to do. And in Indianapolis, with a downtown that got burnt up, a downtown that businesses don't come back, a downtown that has a prosecutor that doesn't prosecute. We got a 17-year-old accused of shooting up about 5 juveniles the other day right smack downtown. We got issues. I want something to do, and Caitlin Clark is going to give me something to do. All right, I'm ready for all the heat. I'm ready. Bring it. I'm ready because I don't understand this. Now, you Christians out there are going to come at me, and that's cool. But everybody's different. I don't understand Scotty Scheffler and Sam Burns having babies this week. I don't. Now, you can get mad at me. I'm going to tell you my story. I told my then wife, hey, I want as many kids as you want to have before I'm 35, period. That has nothing to do with Burns, nothing to do with Scheffler. However, we are not having our kids in September through April. September, October is recruiting. October starts the season with practice. The basketball season I was coaching then goes to March. April is recruiting. We can have our kids in May, first week in July, or August. That's when we're having children. Now, I've been told, I've been ripped. People get mad at me. Well, it's a Christian. It's a blessing. No doubt about it. And I would have loved my son. I would have loved my daughter equally if they were born any other time. But I'm no dummy. I have a tendency to think beyond my nose. My then wife worked in an OBGYN office. She got a book, How to Choose the Sex of Your Baby. All right. She knew the timing of it. I wanted a boy. We did the stuff that had a boy. The book was 8 for 8. And we understood planning your family planning. So my son was born May 10th. My daughter was born June 2nd. 1 week before I had summer camp. See, back in those days when I was making, as an assistant at Indiana, if you can believe this, about $35,000 a year, I needed summer camp. I ran a summer camp of my own where I made $5,000 to $10,000, and then I needed nights camp that I worked for 3 weeks, and the slap only paid me $5,000 to $6,000 for running that camp. But I needed that $10,000 in June. I needed it, and my then wife knew we needed it too. So we wasn't having kids, and I wasn't going to have to explain to anybody, hey, I'm sorry, I got to miss the Purdue game. My wife's having a baby. So Scheffler and Sam Burns could receive that call this week. They have very pregnant wives. It's during the Masters, and if they do, they'll immediately withdraw from the year's first major. Now, would I do that? No, I wouldn't. I was there. I went to Lamaze classes. I did all the stuff you're supposed to do as an adult male with a penis that's having a baby. I did. I showed up. I was there for the birth of both of my children all day. Drove my wife to the hospital. One time we went, they said, you're not ready yet. So we went and walked around a mall to get, okay. But would I miss the Masters? No, I wouldn't. I'm sorry. Makes me a bad guy, makes me a good guy, just giving you the truth. And I don't think any wife would want you to. See, in golf, particularly for a guy like Scheffler, legacy matters. Yes, I know you should be there for your child. Yes, I understand it's more important. Believe me, I do. But I got to tell you, in my world, I'll be done at what? What time is he done? Depending on the start time, he's done by 7. Let's say the kid comes at 6. You're fine. What's the problem? Let's say the kid comes at 6 in the morning. You can be there. Go play golf. I mean, what the hell? If it comes in the middle of the round, I might even tell my wife, don't tell me. Don't call me. I don't know. But as you get older, you realize what's real and what's not real. And the most real thing is your children, without question. But I'm not sure the most real thing is being there for the birth when you're the dude, as opposed to winning the Masters. I'm just saying. I get it. Maybe I'm wrong. I understand this is disgusting. I understand that back in the day when I have said these views, people have lost their minds on me. Good for you. I don't care. That's my opinion. And frankly, my current wife, Lee, if we were in the same spot, she'd be like, what are you doing? Go win the Masters. What are you talking about? You're no help anyway. What are you going to do? Give chips? Here, chips. Push. Be supportive. Yes, I know. There was a day, and a lot of my friends have said this, there was a day when their dads were told in a bar that they just had a kid. Now, I don't understand that. I was doting. I erred on the side of doting because I didn't want guilt, and I wanted to be there, and I couldn't wait to meet my kids. All the good stuff. But I got to tell you, if we were playing in the national championship game, I don't know a woman in my life, my sister, my daughter, my sister-in-law, my wife, my ex-wife, my mother. I don't know a single woman that would say, hey, you got to be here. Hey, Lee. She can't hear me. No way. I asked Lee. I said, hey, Lee, did you have the birth of Jared and Tegan at certain times? She said, I had to. She was coaching softball. Had to do it. That's right. That may piss you off. That may not piss you off. Either way, I don't care. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I'll be honest with you. I know that the sanctimonious, ridiculous people out there, well, you're a bad father. No, I'm a really good father. No, even my ex-wife will tell you, man, you're an all-time dad. That's right. That's right. And I would tell my son the same thing. Hey, look, man, here's the book if you want to have a boy or you want to have a girl. It was 8 for 8. How to choose the sex of your baby. It's 8 for 8. I don't know what to tell you. My brother, my sister, neighbors, me. I mean, it was 8 for 8. Cousins. That's all I can tell. Okay? Boy or girl. Because the book is called How to Choose the Sex of Your Baby. Some people don't want to. I did. I wanted a boy first. I wanted a boy to protect a girl. And that's what I got. Blessed. Very blessed. Pray and thank God every day for it. So there you go. The NCAA was called upon, this ain't happening, was called upon to follow the NAIA, National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, after the collegiate organization for small colleges and universities banned transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. All right. Hours after the NAIA announcement, the NCAA released a statement. College sports are the premier stage for women's sports in America. And the NCAA will continue to promote Title IX, make unprecedented investments in women's sports, and ensure fair competition for all student athletes in our championship. What do you hear when you hear mommy talk? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, hey, look, I would come out if I was the NCAA and say, we are very inclusive with the LGBTQBDE community. We are very inclusive. And to that end, all transgender athletes are permitted and encouraged to play in the men's sports if they want to participate in NCAA athletics. Thank you for your time. Good day. That's what I'd do. But Charlie Baker is a crazy-ass liberal from Boston. Common sense prevails today. It's more than time for the NCAA to do the same. Winsome Earl Sears. She's a famous athlete by all accounts. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Megyn Kelly had this to say. I like when Megyn Kelly chimes in. I'm a big Megyn Kelly fan. NCAA, your move. Now, NAIA covers only smaller private schools. That's not true. a great start, but more to go. Yeah. And people aren't hating. Before you say people are hating, this isn't hate. This is inclusion. Go play with the men. Go play with the men. No problem. Clay put out your move, NCAA. The NCAA has banned transgender athletes. It's not fair to women. I mean, you can say it's fair to women. You can act like it's fair to women, but it ain't fair to women. And everybody knows it. Take note, NCAA. The Independent Women's Forum, Small College Association, bans male athletes from women's sports. I mean, it ain't that hard. And I keep saying it, and I keep saying it. And I've heard a couple people now start talking about it, but it's very simple. Hey, I want to play. Great, play with the men. Hey, no, I really want to play. Yeah, play with the men. No, you can play. This isn't inclusive. Sure, it is. Play with the men. But I'm a girl transitioning to a man. That's right, play with the men. But I'm a boy transitioning to a girl. Yeah, play with the men. Because right now the answer is play with the women. And that answer isn't right. That answer isn't fair. If you're born a male, go play with the men. If you're born a woman transitioning to a man, I may even give you can play with the women, but no, I'm not. Play with the men. Everybody plays with the women. I don't get it. And nobody has explained it to me. All these people, all these beautiful people that are out there talking about inclusion, the Sarah Spains of the world. Oh, it's inclusive. Oh, this and that. Okay. Tell me how it is not inclusive to go play with the men when right now they play with the women. Well, they don't get to play. They do. They get to play with the men. Well, they wouldn't be as good. Doesn't matter. Go play with the men. That's up to you. Sports is a meritocracy. If you're going to play intramurals, go play with the men. If you're going to play golf, play with the men. It's easy. Or is it about dominating women, these 300 and some, or these 33 NCAA transgender athletes? Is it about dominating women? Or is it about, fairness and being able to compete? Why does a dude like Leah Thomas transitioning to a man get to play and swim against women? And why does the girl on Yale's softball team transitioning to a dude get to play softball against women? I'll hang up and listen. The answer is nobody has an answer. Nobody has an answer. There is no answer. It's literally just a thing. If you're going to give me the definition of a thing, that's a thing. There's no guardrails that says this. There's no Bill of Rights that says this. There's no Bible that says this. There's nothing that says this. It's just what's happening, and I don't get it. And then, of course, we must be inclusive folks say, what? If you allow them to play with the men. It is the dumbest thing I have been listening to in a long, long, long time. Long time. But it ain't stopping because people are stupid. People don't want facts. People don't want ideas that aren't their own. The wokies want simply to be heard, to be loud, to bitch, to whine, to moan. That's what they want. And I got to tell you, I'm tired of it. I want inclusion. I want transgender athletes to play. Go play with the men. Period. Men didn't have to work so hard for Title IX. Hell, there is no Title IX. Men didn't work. Well, let me give you an example. My wife, Lee, great softball player. Everybody knew it when she was like 3. She was a great athlete. She gets to high school in Toledo, Ohio. State of Ohio didn't have women's softball. It's not like she's 1,000 years old. I'm not going to tell you her age, but not like she's 1,000. Hell, I married younger, yo. She had to move across the border, her family did, to Michigan. Why? They had softball. Now think about that. They had baseball. They had football. There wasn't a dude sport that they didn't have. So why are we trying to ruin it? I think everybody should be included. I think transgender athletes should be included. Go play with the men.